welcome to today's session, which is on AI and software engineering. Yes, so my name is Zenas, and I am the founder of InnovoTech Lab, which is meant to nurture the next gen of innovators in technology. Yes, so I have a couple of my friends here who are going to be panelists for this session, and you'll be able to ask them questions concerning basically any concerns you have concerning this topic. I know it's scary for some of you, others are also excited, and some of you do not even know what to do. So let's have them introduce themselves. Elisha, would you like to start? So you just tell us your name, your background, and what you are doing currently. And yeah.
I'm Elisha. I'm a University of Ghana Computer Engineering graduate. I graduated 2022 with Zenas. I've been working as a software engineer since then. I primarily do back-end engineering, but I've done some front-end as well, and I normally use Java for that. Thank you.
So you met some of my course-mates, and it seems today a lot of them are here as well. Vincent, would you like to go next?
Yeah, sure. My name is Vincent, and hi, Elisha. I didn't know you're going to be here. Yeah, so I'm also originally from University of Ghana. I have my background in statistics and mathematics, and I have also been working as an engineer since uni. I worked with a couple of these guys at Turntable for a number of years. But I think now most of us have moved onto different things. So yeah, I'm happy to be here and answer your questions.
Thank you. And the last person is Stephen. Stephen. Is Stephen here? Oh yes, Stephen is here.
Hello.
Stephen, okay, you can go ahead.
My name is Stephen. Also graduated with Zenas. From University of Ghana. I'm currently working also as a backend developer, and mainly C# and .NET. Yeah, and a little bit of vibe coding. Yeah.
And the other people here, I didn't inform them, but they are here to just give us moral support, but they're also in my class. And so we have Delanio and Frank. Yes, so Delanio and Frank were also in my class back in the University of Ghana. Because I didn't inform them beforehand, I don't want to put them on the spot. So we'll go ahead. But Delanio and Frank, feel free to come in if you have any suggestions or opinions that you want to bring on board. I want this to be as diverse as possible so that it won't seem like we are just giving them information. And I'm very glad a lot of us here are from different backgrounds. So this is what we are going to do today. And before that, let's just do, as we always do, I have some questions that we'll answer with Mentimeter. Okay, here we go. I hope you can all see the screen. Yeah, so you need to go to menti.com and then use the code in there. Let me send it to the chat. So that's it, right? You can also use the link that I sent into the chat and then join in. Yeah, I think it came as a quiz instead. Let me see. Okay. Okay. Okay, so 2 people alpha, 3 people, 4. We have 4 people now. All right, 6, 7. Okay, why is it coming as one question? It didn't start from the top. Okay, 8. Okay, let's just go ahead. Okay, I'm starting from the top. This is the first one. Great. So, which high school or university are you from? This is quite straightforward. So, it's a word cloud. You just enter the name of the high school or university you are in. I know there are Form 1s here on the call as well. Form 1, I think first year in senior high school. Okay, University of Ghana. Oh, the rest of the 9 people. It looks like, okay, 2 people entered University of Ghana. 3 people. 4. Okay. Ah, is Kelvin on the call? Ah, yeah, Kelvin is here. Um, Justice. Your hand is up. Is that okay? Wait, let's move on to the next one. Okay. Hey, what's the name of the question? Ah, okay. What's your area of interest? And this one is no. So let's just select our area of interest, any of the fields that you find interesting. I think it's supposed to be a multi-choice, so you can select more than one. So we'll do like 1 minute for each question because of time. I was supposed to change it. Palmer, so you need to go to menti.com and insert this code so that you can have access to what we are doing. So it's just a simple, just simple questions just to know those who have joined the session. That's all. So it's nothing. No, it's nothing serious. Okay. I'm moving on to the next one. Okay. What's the first word that comes in mind um, when you hear AI in software engineering? Okay. I think this is also a word cloud. Models. Let's see. Prompts. Interesting. ChatGPT. Hey, who is that? Vibe coding. Okay, automations. And this is on the side. How many of you have watched the Google I/O? It's that Google I/O. I think it's this entire week or so. It started yesterday, and today was the second session. Yesterday's session was great. I mean, they had lots of things coming up. Yeah, unemployment. Okay, LLMs. There are 5 more people who have joined in and haven't responded. Okay, let me just go ahead then. If no, what just came up? Okay, machine learning. So move on to the next question. What AI tools have you used before? I think there's another word cloud. What AI tools have you used before? Okay, Dan, I guess you are unable to access Mentimeter. Perplexity. I haven't heard of that one before. Let me check it out. Oh, interesting. Okay, cool pilots. Yeah, together AI, meta AI. Oh, interesting. I haven't used Perplexity before. DeepSeek, Quen. Okay, Quen from the DeepSeek people. Windsurf, yeah. GitHub Copilot, Grok 3. I thought Grok 3 was a premium thing and you can't really access it. Or they have like a free tier version. Gemini, yeah. Oh, okay. All right. I think that's all. I'm moving on to the next question. So what's your dream tech job? What's your dream tech job? I see you are trying to think hard. Software engineer at Pinterest. Why Pinterest? why Pinterest? Okay. AI engineer at Tesla. I know whoever entered a serious vibe coder is someone who just wants to make quick money instantly. Okay, robotics, IoT, networking, data engineering, DevOps, cybersecurity specialist from the chat. Okay, no other answers coming in. I'm moving on to the next one. R&D. Okay. R&D in which field? I'm an ethical hacker. All the best. Okay, I'm moving on to the next question because of time. Selassie, you laughed. You're a suspect. I think you are the one. Okay, how do you feel about AI and the future job in tech? Okay, first person said AI will open doors. Okay. Nobody thinks it will replace them. And no one thinks it will replace them. Interesting. Ah, one person. Okay, 10 people have responded. Okay, I see. There are 4 people left. Okay, everyone is saying AI open doors. All right, I'm moving on to the next one. If AI could do one thing to help you as a student, what would it be? What would it be? One thing. I saw an argument someone brought up. The person was like, if students are using AI to solve their questions, rather than punishing them for it, they should rather bring up questions that will not that won't be able to that won't be able to be solved with AI. What am I saying? Questions that AI can't solve. Exactly. Yeah. Another person is saying that they should do it with AI when they get home, and when they get to school, they test them without the AI tools again. Make me money. I thought, is that onto a role of a student? Okay. Organize my stuff to make understanding easier. Make my courses easier. Okay. Quizzes offline. Help me learn and explore my field. Make my courses easier. Okay, customize my learning experience. Are you people aware almost everything you're mentioning here can be done with Notebook LM? I don't know how many of you know Notebook LM, but someone should remind me. Maybe towards the end of the session, I'll use Notebook LM and then show you how it works. I think that would be helpful since about 98% of you here are in the university. Are there any more answers coming in? Okay, I'm moving on to the next question. Okay. AI will replace most software engineers in the next 10 years. Someone said true. Okay. What people are saying true. Yeah, the rest of the 13, you're not going to say anything. I see. Okay. So we're moving on to the next question. Which tech role do you think AI might replace first? Which role do you think AI will replace first? I see. Junior developer. Project manager is 0. Okay. Next question. What part of a tech job do you hope AI never takes over? UX design. Okay. Front-end development. That one is already gone. Oh. Front-end development is already gone. Front-end development is basically gone by now. UI UX. Interesting. Why is everyone talking about UI UX? That's also already gone with software engineering. I mean, if I need a basic application, not any fancy UI, I could just go ahead with it. Anything design. Well, I think I'll just demo a few apps that I have worked on using AI without writing any line of code. Okay. Most of you are talking about design. I see. Okay. Next question. Okay. Great. Okay. Did you people select? So this is a quiz. Hey, who selected Code Fairy? Okay, so GitHub Copilot. And maybe Microsoft did the demo recently, right? And the demo Microsoft did was Copilot being your other software engineer you can assign PRs to inside of GitHub. Okay, I also want to know which of these social media platforms you are conversant with. I think most of you here are on WhatsApp. I think this one should be multi-choice. Okay. Is that if we don't use threads again? Only one person selected threads. Okay. All right, that's fine. So we are done. We are done now. Let's get started. As I said earlier, we have panelists here, and what they'll be doing is that they'll be answering most of your questions from different points of views. So what we'll be doing here today is to, I'll provide a brief um, um, presentation, and then we'll be moving on to the next section. So what we'll be doing here today is to, I'll provide a brief presentation, and then we'll be moving on to the next section. So what we'll be doing here today is to, I'll provide a brief presentation, and then we'll be moving on to the next section. So what we'll be doing here today is to, I'll provide a brief historical context of the evolution of software engineering. I mean, what we call software engineering today, how it started. And then explore how you could leverage AI in your careers or whatever you're doing right now. You're all students, right? So, yeah. So I'd like to walk you through the era. What you see as software engineering today, you are writing code and you think that's the normal thing. It started from somewhere. And initially it started with actual mechanical switches, right? I wouldn't want to go into the low level aspect of it, but I started with actual mechanical switches, and then it moved on to punch cards. So programming was done on punch cards, actual punch cards. That's how programming was done. Yeah. And I even mentioned initially that when Bill Gates was in school, he said that the only available computer was between the hours of 12 a.m. and 3 a.m. So those were the hours where he could get access to a computer. And he said he's excited to see that it's everywhere now because Microsoft is 50 years this year, by the way. And his goal was to make computers accessible to everyone. So as you can see, the problems of then are not the same problems of today. But as a software engineer back then, punch cards was a serious thing. It means that your lines of code will be a pile of sheets of papers that you'd have to work with. Now from there, terminal interfaces came through. This was Microsoft's entry point era, where programming languages, command line programming languages came on board. This is where assembly, basic, and all those programming languages came through, right? And then the GUI era came along. That one also entered after, you see that one, so Microsoft, I think it was MS-DOS. That's brought the command line interface. And then from there, GUI-based applications came along. And then this is where most of your fancy programming languages and other stuff started coming through. And then after that, we have open source and web development. This is the dawn of the internet. And then open source, people creating projects for other people to work with. This is where Git started shining, GitHub, and the LAMP stack stuff that you already know. Okay, some of you may have not used it. When you have to use PHP and then have an Apache server, you need a framework. LAMP stack was what we used. I think we used XAMPP, if I'm not mistaken. We used XAMPP and WAMP when we were in second year in class. And then from there, we went on to Agile and DevOps. You know, that one also brought a whole new kind of thing. We started talking about containerization, tools like Jira, Jenkins, Kubernetes, and all of that. And then from there, from 2020, when COVID happened, all of a sudden, AI tools started springing up. And that's where we are now. 2020 till now. This is where Copilots came along, ChatGPT. I've always been telling you people that ChatGPT blew up after we finished our final thesis in 2022. I think in November. That's when ChatGPT came along. That time we're done with school. Are you guys using your assignments on every day? The only thing we had at that time was Grammarly. And that wasn't doing any fancy AI features back then. But since then, you see, when we are almost entering year 5. We are almost entering year 5 of ChatGPT existing, and you can see the tremendous changes that have happened. Things are moving rapidly. And trust me, I know at a point it got very scary for me. Yeah. And then from there, what's next? You have seen crazy tools going ahead. You saw Devin AI, which came to light to all of us. I think that's where the scary part came from. Everybody thought Devin was going to take away the job of software engineers, right? And then we start with Copilot, Code Whisperer from AWS. Which one? There's tab 9. There's and the code editors we all use. Okay, not everybody. Keza, Windsurf, some of you mentioned. This is the era of the AI-powered AI powered tools we use in software engineering. Now, the future is looking crazy because we have things like V0, Lovable, and Firebase Studio just came out. I think Google released an AI studio as well. And then you've been hearing talks about AI agents and then physical agents leading into robotics, all of these things. And now you can see that you can even use your voice commands to be editing a front end of your application and all that. So, I mean, there are a lot of questions I even have myself, which I'm looking for answers. So from here, the future outlook has things like LangChain, AutoGPT, and these kind of code generating tools. Now, what do software engineers currently do today? For me, writing code when it comes to this, the other panelists will talk, but for me, it's just writing code, debugging, testing, writing documentation. All these things are really a pain. And I've been doing, even when it comes to fast prototyping, when I have ideas in my head, some of these AI tools just help me see, give me a visual look of how it works. So I think the other panelists too, I think I would want you to share, if you do use some of these AI tools, I would like you to share with us what you use the tools for. Elisha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I use the tools to help me program, and actually I also do some work around building tools around AI for clients to use, for other users to actually use. So basically prompt engineering.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Steven. Steven.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Wait, can you repeat what you said? I was a little bit.
Yeah. So I'm asking about the AI tools, what you use the AI tools currently. How does it look in your workflow? How do you use the AI tools? Or maybe anyone you have used and how your experience, how you've experienced it so far.
Okay. So originally I'm a back end dev, right? I'm not really um, I'm not really good with the front end. I just know the basics. So usually when I have front end tasks to complete, I just use the AI to write code my way through it. Right? It helps me build fast and try new things faster. So yeah, that's basically my use of AI for building front end applications faster, right? And also in my day to day use with backend, sometimes I use it. So I've let's say I got this tax from work where I got a bunch of gibberish text, right?
That's okay.
Oh,
All
sorry,
right,
you can go
so
ahead.
yeah, so it consisted of like there was a text file that had like Chinese, Hebrew, Greek, and everything in it, and I was supposed to convert it to PDF, like a PDF that had pictures and had like a whole file structure, right, with meaningful information in it, right. So if you open a PDF with a text editor, it has like its own like structure behind this, right? You can see the text behind the PDF, right? So there was this gibberish I'm supposed to convert to PDF, but the issue is it has been encoded in using like an encoding algorithm, which I didn't know about. And there are many encoding algorithms like UTF-8, UTF-16, Windows 12.52, 12.15. Like there are lots of encoding
We don't
algorithms.
understand what you are saying. Oh. We don't understand the details of what you
So
are
so
talking about.
so basically what I'm saying is it helps to iterate or try things faster, right? So basically, I use it to test all these algorithms faster to figure out which particular one was used on the gibberish I got, right. So yeah, basically AI helps me like work faster. Something that would normally take me time to iterate one by one, I can just use it to try all of them at once, and it's yeah, it helps me develop faster. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Vincent,
Yeah, hi.
yeah. So can you share your experience with us and how you use, maybe whether you've used AI in your day to day, or maybe your role if you have worked around any of these AI tools or developing tooling for AI?
Right. So for the longest time, I mean, like since AI started like becoming like a buzzword in our field, um, somewhere in 2022 or 2021, actually, when ChatGPT came out with their first models. I have kind of been one of the people who were on the sidelines. You know, I was quick to point out um, how when ChatGPT is wrong, it is very confident in what it is saying, even though it is wrong. Like the level of confidence it uses to spit out garbage is the same level of confidence it uses to spit out like vital information, right? Like it doesn't really know when it is wrong. And so back in the days when I was working, somewhere in 2022, I was working on some open telemetry project. Um, and during that project, we would like my lead and I, we would like try experimenting with, oh, how good is this thing? Like, let's make it write some code to pass a test that we have already written, right? And the level of garbage it was putting out, it was like, nah, this thing is, it may have its use in documentation and all those things, but it's practical, like it's probably like not going to be very useful when it comes to like helping coders write code, because we had defined the parameters, right? We had written the functions that it needed to pass, like, hey, ChatGPT, write a code that passes this test, right? And even something as simple as that, it was giving us something very, very, very bad, but it was very confident in saying this is the right thing. And when you are quick to point out what is wrong with the code, then the tone will switch to, ah, yes. Ah, yes. And then say exactly what you are saying. So it kind of became like um, a dancing monkey that's exactly what you tell it to do, right? And then not having like an opinion on it. But that's actually quickly changed. So I mean, from that experience, like for the good part of a year, I was mostly a purist, even when people were bigging up Copilot, like when Copilot was being basically integrated everywhere to help people write code and like make them more productive, right? I was like, nah, if you start using that, you may end up writing a lot of bugs than you write actual code or like actual productive, like do any actual productive features, right? And so I was most of the times on the fence until quite recently. I tried um, the Gemini advanced models when Gemini launched the 2.5 Pro experimental models. This was just late last year, and then I started like heavily. I mean, I saw the numbers when they first got published and how they were basically beating every other model out there in every single possible task that could be done. And so I was like, okay, let's give this a try. And then I started using it in one of the most complicated tasks ever, which is helping me do um, cloud infrastructure, right? Basically, like helping me write Terraform code to provision infrastructure. And I was just amazed, right? And ever since then, like Neil deGrasse Tyson put it better that there is always going to be um, In every generation, there's always going to be an inflection point when some new technology comes, and we have to embrace it. It's either we embrace it or we accept that we are going to fade out and die. So yeah, AI that I currently use, I think on my current project, what I'm currently heavily using is Firebase Studio. It has Gemini baked into the studio, and so you basically just have to be vibe coding your way out to your project, right? We are building like a platform for women in tech for some NGO, and within a day, right, I was able to like prototype, like build an MVP, like a prototype that we could actually demonstrate just by vibe coding. I had no idea. I had never written Svelte before last week, right? But with with Gemini Studio, I mean, I knew some Firebase, but nothing about Svelte. And with Firebase, I could just go into the studio and yeah, just do things that would normally take 2 weeks to do in one day. So yeah, there's a revolution coming, and then we have to just embrace it as engineers. Yeah, that's my two piece.
Yeah, that's great. So as you can see, I have the Q&A up here, so you can use this Mentimeter link and then start sending in your questions. So we take them one after the other. So you can go ahead and start sending your questions. Yeah, I saw a video of Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's sort of like a science celebrity. I don't even understand the guy and what he says. Well, but he said something. He was talking about how vehicles have changed, how human beings have been using like horses over a long period of time, right? And then in like less than half a decade, sorry, like half a century, human beings stopped using horses and switched to cars. And now horses are in stables. But at the end of the day, you could say jobs have been lost, right? Those who care for the horses, that job has reduced. Those who provide feed for the horses, that job is gone. Those who provide the cart for the horses, and those who create the sitting area, I don't know what it's called, the carriage, all those jobs are gone, but new jobs were created. Mechanics, those who build tires, those who repair cars, those who create accessories for cars, and all of that. Those new jobs were created. If you look at it carefully, the problem is the same. It's just the mode of solution has changed. That's my take on it. So it's basically for us to evolve. As I mentioned earlier, we're doing punch cards. And even during that era too, there were just switches that were being changed. And nothing has really changed about the switches. It's just that it has become so complicated that we've built layers of abstractions on top of it, and we claim we are writing code. I'm sure someone from the past will come and see us and ask us, what do we think we are doing? Right? They will tell us we are using an easy way out. And it's the same way you go and tell someone in the future using their voice and then maybe their personal assistant to build a website. Once in the VR space, design a website just with their voice commands and look at something and say, change the header, it's not looking nice. And be like, oh, this is too easy. These people nowadays, they don't even know what coding is. I mean, those in the past also be saying the same thing to us. What matters is that the problem is being solved and the tools that needs to be used may change. And you just adapt accordingly. I'm not saying that software engineering jobs will go out. Is that an issue with the questions? Is it that you guys can't connect to it? Because no questions have come in so far. And can someone respond to that? No questions have come in so far. I hope you guys can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah. Oh, you don't have any questions? Mohammed, you're now joining the session. Interesting. You people don't have questions. Okay, but I prepared some questions beforehand, so I think we can start working on that. This is how do I start using GitHub Copilot or ChatGPT? So this question is basically asking how to get started with using AI in your workflow as a software engineer. Elisha, would you like to take this one?
Okay. Yeah. So you said using GitHub Copilot or ChatGPT. Which one is that?
Yeah. Like they are just asking. So basically, using AI tools in your workflow. Like, how do you go about it?
Okay. I remember when GitHub Copilot came. I like Vincent. I mean, I was more apprehensive of it actually. I wasn't interested. I felt like, as Dana said, it made things too easy, and to some degree, it did. I remember like I used it for a while, and after a while, as a beginner, like I forgot how to do everything that I learned how to do. So that was one of the dangers for me. But I now use ChatGPT. I use it in the same way I use Google. If I'm coding and have a problem, I ask ChatGPT for help. And now, as a more senior developer, it's easier for me to use Copilot because I know what I want to do, and I'm not easily as swayed as the by its suggestions. So like, I just use it normally for like completing whatever it is I'm typing, or whatever it is I have in mind. So I'll say, starting out, it would be best if you try to actually um, use an editor that doesn't use AI tools. That's my personal opinion. And use like, maybe you can use AI searches. I mean, ChatGPT to search for anything rather. And I think that's the best way to get the best of both worlds. Build your own personal skills while leveraging AI.
So true, right? The Copilots came along, like the time Copilots came along, I was doing a bit of machine learning and with scikit learn, and I realized it was just auto completing it, and I wasn't basically typing anything. So I had to turn it off because I realized I wasn't learning anything. Yeah, so that's true. I actually experienced the same thing. So let's see if we can finish the. Someone is asking, can I fully build a software application? Like, can AI fully build a software application? Stephen, I think you should go for this one.
If they can fully build an application.
Build a software application, yeah.
Okay. So recently, a friend contacted me to. He had this. He was doing his masters, right, and they were supposed to uh, demo a full-fledged app, right? And he didn't have time because he's also working, right? He's a cybersecurity analyst, and he didn't have time, so he asked me to help him out, and he was tight, so I you can actually do it, right? So I used Chat GPT together with Gemini and Keza to help build uh, a car renting platform, and it took me like 2 days to complete um, the front end and the back end with everything, the hosting and everything, right? Yeah, it took me like 2 days to complete. So you can, but I want you to note that it's code generated by AI, right? And it will have a lot of flaws, right? It will have a lot of security loopholes, flaws, and it won't be 100% perfect. That's why you still need to know what you're doing to be able to like use these things, right? Because it would sometimes hard code values, it would use shortcuts in authentication, logics, right? And I'll have to, if you understand what you're doing, you can go to those parts of the code and correct them or fix them, right? Yeah. One thing that helped me in that project was I use Firebase authentication. So it's like basically outsourcing the authentication to a trusted platform, right? Yeah, but you can actually build a full-fledged app application or platform website with AI, but you have to know what you're doing. So it's good to actually know the basics, understand like development principles, understand the code, so that you can identify the bullshit from the actual good code, right? When you see it, yeah. But then you can. And right now, I think a lot of things are possible with AI. So yeah.
That's so true. So you see, some of these things, when it comes to generative AI, the best results will be based on the best prompt. And for you to build a software, you need to create the best prompt. And the best prompt will only come from somebody who understands what they are doing. So yeah, I have actually have had an experience like that. I built an entire application same way with AI for demo purposes. As I mentioned, you see, I always mention for demo purposes to quickly just draft out an idea and then see you working, clicking buttons without even going through the UI UX phase. I really bad at UI UX. So those who are saying they are not happy about AI taking away UI UX, I am very happy because it has taken that barrier away from me, and I can now easily prototype. There is another question here. It says, will AI reduce developer hiring? Okay, will companies reduce developer hiring due to AI? Vincent, would you want to answer this one? Vincent, are you still here? Okay, sure. Then Steve, Elisha, you can go ahead with this one. Elisha.
Yeah, sorry. Um, I don't know if it was my internet. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. Will companies reduce developer hiring due to AI?
I would say yes. I don't know if any of you are aware of like the recent Microsoft firing, where a lot of developers lost their jobs, and it may seem harsh, but I think it makes sense because right now AI can code at the junior level and maybe mid-level, and also at the mid-level. So it doesn't make sense to hire a lot of junior developers to do the job that you can get AI to do at a lower price. So I would say for junior developers especially, it would be harder to like get jobs because most companies would now reduce will actually increase the standards at which they hire. So yeah, already companies do that, so it's going to get even worse. There will also be less jobs on the markets, and yeah, so I believe that AI will actually start to replace developers bit by bit. I don't know if that answers the question.
So, in your opinion, what do you think is the way out?
Yeah, as Zena said, I think we have to pivot. So if you can't beat them, you join them. So you learn about how you can use AI to actually better your career, or you can actually maybe just use AI the way the companies are using them to solve problems, start your own businesses, and yeah.
So, as you all know, we are meant to solve problems. Being so fixated, I understand that you see, it's not really easy to think that having that mindset to be a problem solver. I'm not saying once you get out of uni, nah, do it, but have that in mind because there are lots of problems you can solve over here. the AI tools have given you access right now. I think maybe I'll just demo, when we are getting done, I'll demo some of the apps that I have tried building. Let me see, is there any other question here? Okay, Elisha, since you answered this question, there's another one here. What should I focus on to stay relevant in the AI era? And which fields do you think should be focused on to stay relevant?
I'm still figuring that one out myself. But what I would say is, like, yeah, as Anna said, as engineers, or let me just use the word engineers, we are problem solvers. So AI, if AI is solving a problem, then we just have to find a problem that AI can solve, or like we can use AI to solve. But like, just some fields, for instance, let me see the medical field, for instance. Even though AI does the work, I mean, AI can actually diagnose and everything. AI is not as reliable. We don't depend on AI as much as doctors. So there's still like work that you can do to sort of bridge that gap. You could think about solutions that could actually help AI take more jobs. And in doing that, you're actually creating a job for yourself and maybe for others that have like that are willing to jump on that train with you. Because I mean, if it's going to happen eventually, why don't you do it? That's what I would say.
Great. So I think it's going to take a while for us to try and figure out, because things are a bit blurry right now. Like a lot of people are now having sort of like a wake up call. We are trying to figure out what is going on. The models are becoming better at an alarming rate, and a whole lot. So yeah, I understand it's quite daunting, especially for those of you who are now even about to start. You don't even know whether you should even go ahead with it, right?
Yeah. I don't think I also answered the question fully. I think the person was asking what they should learn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say learn the basic programming. I'm assuming that you are coming from a programming background, so just learn like the basic programming, understand it very well. Learn what AI can do and its current limitations, and then you just work around that. You could try and improve what AI can do, or like try and work around its limitations, or try and make AI work better despite those limitations. So just understanding what it can do and what it can't do can help you, that can help direct you in what you should learn, depending on how
That's
you want to approach the change.
yeah. Yeah, so that's true. So no matter what, you actually need to do the fundamentals. As I mentioned earlier, for you to be a great um, vibe coder, you need to be a very good prompt engineer. And for you to be a very good prompt engineer to build applications, you must have an idea of how applications work in the background, especially with the backend side. I mean, with the UI, it's just the design. Even the back end of the front end is also very critical, which has to do with maybe guarding some pages depending on authentication and authorization, and then even the back end in itself. As Stephen mentioned earlier, I can just create some shortcuts because there will obviously be loopholes with AI since it's now trying to gather momentum in the field. But yeah, so the fundamentals is very important. What's next? I think yeah. So some key things you should consider is that AI is augmenting the developer space. Yes. So if you are not shifting along with it, that is when replacement comes in. So you should rather learn to work with AI as a core skill. Understand how the tool supports us rather than being enthusiastic about AI can build this, AI can build that. Find a proper way to add it to your workflow for it to become a norm. I mean, even with the AR glasses that Google is releasing with some companies, it's mind blowing. It's so futuristic that I didn't even believe. I didn't think it was going to be happening anywhere currently, but it's looking like it's possible. If someone is asking about Keza, Stephen, I think you'd have to go ahead with this one. The question on the screen. Stephen, can you
Yeah,
hear me? Okay.
yeah, yeah. So I have tried because, as I said earlier, that was what I used to build the current platform I was talking about. Um, it's good because unlike the regular chat GPT, Gemini's and stuff, this is deeply integrated with your whole entire code base. So it understands your code base better, right? So I now need to target specific parts of your code depending on how you prompt it. And so it makes it easier to make changes to your code base or understanding your code base. And especially if you work in enterprises and like you are working in large code bases, sometimes it's very difficult to understand the code base when you have to make certain changes. So with tools like SI helps because it has deep integration with the code base. So you can prompt it to understand what the whole code base is about, do changes at specific parts of the code base, find specific functionalities in the code base, right? And it can help you do all that, right? Yeah. So I think it's a good tool, but also it doesn't also suffer from the same issues. I think Zenas was mentioned earlier. Um, the issues with creating shortcuts and um, implementing lazy logics and stuff, right? So sometimes you can give a good prompt, but it will still try to take shortcuts in certain parts of your code and stuff. So it's like you have to still review everything just to make sure you are not uh, pushing baggy code to production or anything, right? Yeah. So what I found is it's best suited for front end applications in my use case because I've tried using it for back end and in my experience it didn't go really well for me. At one point, it commented out all my code and replaced it with existing code here. So I don't know. For backend, I have had bad experience with it, but then for front end is what I use it mostly for, and that's what I'll say. It's best in my opinion here. But yeah, I think Keza is really good.
Let's see the next question. Okay, someone has answered. Yeah. Let me also tell you about my experience. So I created an app in V0. V0 is Vessel's form of, what it does is that you give it a prompt and then it will generate the entire code base. So Vessel created Next.js, right? And the current Next.js version is Next.js 15. The current one is Next.js 15. So it uses Next.js 15, and Next.js 15 doesn't have support for some of the current tools we use. So I moved from Keza because my credits on Keza got finished to V0 to Keza. Now on Keza, the issue that came up was that it was finding a lot of errors. So I told it, fix it. So usually with Keza, all you need to do is fix it, and it figures it out. And now one of the solutions was to revert it back to Next.js 14. And that completely broke the UI. The CSS stopped working, everything stopped working. I was frustrated. And then some way, somehow, I figured out that the version had changed, and that was the problem. So I went back to change the version to 15, and everything came up working again. So that's how I was able to go. AI writes a lot of errors, like memory bugs and leaks. What are your suggestions? I think Steven has already answered this one, right? I also spoke about it. Let's see the next question. So if you're a front-end developer and you are not using AI to increase your productivity, why not? Because things that would require probably like two things that would require like two people now could easily be done by one person. And you know, as I said earlier, front end, when it comes to the front facing part of front end, it's not usually security critical, it's just designing the UI. So with that one, you can even try and go all out. But the logic behind the front end, which has to do with the guards, running authentication and authorization at the back end part of the front end, is the part that is critical. So if yours is really stuck with the HTML and CSS and then the JavaScript side to make it fancy, I mean, it can really do that now. And trust me, if I try and write a very good prompt that is descriptive, it could probably do what you can do in maybe 2 hours in probably like 2 minutes. And it's serious. I have tried it several times on several applications. Next question. With the rise of AI tools, how can young developers like us stay relevant and not be replaced? I think Elisha answered this question. Elisha, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I addressed that.
Mentioned the fundamentals, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the same thing. So when you stick to the fundamentals, it means you understand the underlying principles behind building applications, which means that you can be a very good prompt engineer if you understand the fundamentals of building the software. So understanding authentication, authorization, building a simple interface, building a simple API. You know how APIs connects to the front end. Once you're able to understand those things, it means you could easily increase your productivity by using the AI tools. So it's not really a big deal if you stick to the core principles. It's just that it's now at an alarming rate. It means you have to speed up the process. You have to make sure that you are you are being the best. Because right now, so in the past, you just need to know some HTML, CSS. Developers were not a lot, and all you need to do is that know HTML, CSS, and some JavaScript. The companies will take you and train you. But now, not anymore. Now, not anymore. You have to come in with some level of experience. Okay, this is the Keza one. So all the questions here we have answered all of them. If no one has any question here, so how many of you are interested in the notebook LM thing? If not a lot of people here, we could find another time to do that. So if you are interested, you can just raise your hand in the interesting. I see. Right now, it's just one person. Okay, two people. Let me just. I think I've done a bit. I've done some stuff here before. Okay, you cannot see my screen. Yeah, so this notebook LM, you can upload your sources. So it means maybe calculus 1. What you do is that you add all your calculus books, that like the textbook itself in PDF form, your notes that you wrote maybe in docs. You can even add your YouTube videos, audio files, Google Docs, Google Slides, everything. The tutorial videos, you add them in, it will transcribe it, put everything together, and then that becomes your source of truth. It can generate a study guide based on like everything you've given it. It can generate a brief document about everything. It can even create a timeline, create some form of FAQs, and a lot. It can even generate an audio overview. The amazing part is the, how do you call it? The podcast. So you can even generate a podcast based on the topic. Here you can see that there are a few things I have done. When I was working on my presentation at, was it PyFest? I used it. Yeah, this was Holy Spirit and His Gifts. It was a book by Kenneth Hagan. I used it. What else? Yeah, digital design fundamentals. Did I use a different one? I did something recently. Um, yeah, it's this one. So digital design fundamentals, right? I uploaded a book, and the book is on the its introduction to digital design of circuits, so electronics. So over here, you see it generates a very brief summary, right? It can create a mind map. Let's take a look at the mind map. The mind map here, look at what it does. It breaks down every topic we have over here. So it starts with number system, what you need to learn in the book. When you click on it, this generates some form of text for you, something little on that particular topic for you to go through. Right? So as you can see, it has generated the text over here. I can expand it again to go in depth to any other topic. And yeah, so this is the fancy feature I was talking about. With this feature, what happens is that it will take the notes all the sources of information you have here, and it will generate a podcast out of it. I'll have to reshare my screen. It's still loading. It'll take a while to get it in. Yeah, and you can basically ask it questions. So generate a study guide. So let's see what happens. It's generating a study guide. Okay, yeah, the audio is in. So it generated a podcast, 23 minutes. I don't think you'll be able to hear it. I'll have to share. Oh, I don't know if this will work out. Let me try. Oh, I can't share. Let me see. Oh. You won't be able to hear the audio because it's over the call, and I can't share because I'm using two different user accounts. Yeah, so basically it's just two people talking. And the beautiful part of it is that you can have interactive mode. And what interactive mode allows you to do is to join in a conversation. I can join in asking a question. Yeah, so you can join in here and then ask your questions. Yeah. So this is how Notebook LM works. So you can see that it can allow you to study basically anything. This is a study guide. I think that one is also done. Here's a study guide to draw, provided, blah, blah, blah. Over here, it breaks it down according to the chapters, as you can see. Yeah, you need to start with binary to decimal to binary and go through the octal to hexadecimal. These are fundamentals you need to know. And you need to do the BCD as well. And then you go through ASCII, go ahead, do some logic. So these are steps to basically enter into electronics when you want to do digital circuit design. So this basically Notebook LM. So imagine any topic of your choice, you could basically use this as a study guide. And you can ask it questions along the way. What makes this, this approach for studying is that it's not like ChatGPT, which is open to any information. This one, when you ask information that is not being provided here, it will basically tell you that you didn't provide that information. So you can be sure that it won't lie to you when you are preparing to write your test. It even shows you references in the book. Yeah, so it even shows you references in the book. So this is Notebook LM. I wanted to demo. Okay, let me show you an app I built from scratch with basically V0. So I vibe coded this entire thing, right? And what this app is basically a note-taking app with AI functionalities. And I vibe coded this entire application. As you can see, it has notes